Hey guys, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how we make this ocean scene in Blender. It didn't quite come out the way I wanted. I was practicing for this tutorial, and when I did it, I've done it like 6 times now, and I've messed it up every time, so it's not quite where I wanted it to be, but it's okay, and I thought I'd put the tutorial up so it doesn't go to waste. So this scene you see here I will be putting in Blend Swap, and so you guys can look at how I did it if you want to see, and also the HDRI will also be provided in the link below that you can download. So everything you need is in the description below. So without wasting any more time, let's get into this tutorial. Okay, so with a brand new scene opened up in Blender, we're going to select everything, go X and delete, and then go Add, Mesh, and we're going to add a plane. Okay, so we're going to size this plane up to about here. Go into our edit mode, and we're going to subdivide this about 80 times. So under number of cuts, let's make this 80 cuts. Go back into our object mode, and then what we're going to do is go to our top orthographic, go Shift D, and just move another plane back on the Y. And then we're going to select both of these, go Shift D, and bring them down. Okay. So we have 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top, like so. And we're going to select the 2 back ones, and we're going to go S, Y, and make them wider, like this. And the reason we're going to do that is we want to look at this as a V. This is where our camera's field of view is going to be. So speaking of camera, let's go to our front view, just go Add Camera, add a camera. We're going to take this camera, move it back here, like so. And we're just going to move it up a little bit above the surface of the ocean plane. Go to our camera view, and this is what we should have. So R, X, maybe rotate it up a little bit like so. So let's just have a look. I'm saying so quite a lot. Okay, that's looking good. So I'm going to maybe scale my camera up just so I can see where its field of view is. Okay, let's go to the top view. Okay, so nothing should be cut out of view. Go like this. So let's just size these 2 planes at the back up just a little bit more on the X. There we go. Awesome. So this is our physical geometry so far, and this is our camera. So we can size our camera back down again to something reasonable, and we can now go to Cycles Render and start adding some of the materials and displacements. So the first thing we're going to work on is the actual ocean plane we're going to be seeing, which is this top one here. So I'm going to go to my materials. I'm going to call this water, and I'm going to give the top plane at the back as well. I'm just going to give that the same water material. And in this bottom one, we're just going to create a new material, and we're just going to call it black, because it's going to be black, and I'm going to make it black in the viewport and the color here. Do the same with the one at the back, just give it the black material. Okay, so that's all looking good. Go into my camera view, and with my first plane selected, I'm going to go to my modifiers, add a subdivision surface, and we're going to give this a subdivision of about 2. And in the render, we're going to give it a subdivision of about 5. And we're going to make sure we apply the scale, so go Control A and apply scale. And then we're going to go add a displacement modifier, so go to Displace. Then go to our textures here. Make sure Displace is the one we have selected, go New. And then under Image here, we're going to go to Voronoi texture. And you can see we have a lot of physical displacement going on here, but the scale is a bit off, so we're going to make the size of it free. So let's just make that a scale of 3. Okay, make it a scale of 2. Okay, go back to our modifiers panel here, and under strength here, under our displacement, we're going to make that a strength of 1. And under our preview render here, we might bring that down to the render down to 3 and the preview down to 2. And let's just enable smooth shading and see what we have so far. Okay, so maybe go back to our texture here and give that a scale of 1. Okay, that should work quite well. So we have our physical displacement, and let's give it to the one at the back as well. But with this one, we're not going to be adding any modifiers like subdivision. We're just going to be adding a displacement. Go to our material textures here, and we're just going to go under new here. We're not just going to select the old texture, this one here, and we're going to go to our modifiers here, give it a strength of 0.1 as well. And we're also going to apply the scale. So Control A and apply the scale. So this one is much lower poly, but we're not really going to be seeing it, so it doesn't really matter. So go smooth. And this one is the only one that's going to be really close to the camera. So we have our physical displacement here. Physical displacement on the one at the back. We have our two black planes down the bottom. We have our camera set up. So now we can start adding some of our environmental lighting, which is important before we can go on to creating our water material. So if you go to the link below, you're going to see the HDR Havens link I have provided, and you're going to download that HDRI in 8K, and you're going to save it somewhere on your computer. So I have already gone ahead and done that. So I'm going to go to my world settings and under color, go to environment texture, go open. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to get that one. It's the Saferfontaine 18D clear 8K HDR. So I'm going to go open image, and I'm going to go to my compositing, and I'm going to go to my camera view down here. I'm going to hit in, open up my properties panel, and I'm going to go under display and enable world background. So we should now, once Blender has loaded it up, just waiting for it to happen. Come on, Blender. There we go. We can see now our world background here. Blender is being really slow. But I'm not very happy with the position here. So we're going to go to our materials tab here. And then over here, we're going to click on the world materials. And we can see here is our environment texture, our background, and our world output. So what we're going to do to change the mapping here is get a mapping node. So go search, get a mapping node, plug the mapping node into the vector here. Okay. Then we're going to get a texture coordinate node, plug the generated into the vector here. And what we can do is rotate the Z now. So I'm going to wait for Blender to load, and I'm going to make this 15 degrees. And on the X here, I'm going to tilt it down a bit to about 5 degrees. So this is what we have now. This is what we're going to see in the camera. It's cheating, but it works. So it gives us what we want. Cool. Now I'm going to disable the world background here. And while we're in our materials, our compositing here, we might just as well make the water material. So with the first plane here selected, we're going to go back to our materials, object materials, make sure we have our water here, and we're going to get rid of this ugly diffuse here. So go X delete. We can get a search glossy and plug it in here. Or not glossy, sorry, a glass shader. There we go. Plug this into the surface. Make the IOR of water, which is 1.333, and make sure the roughness is at 0. Okay, that's correct. So if we go Shift Z right now, we should see what our water looks like. So give Blender some time to think, and that's kind of what I want. It's looking good at the moment, but we can make this material look a little bit better by adding some higher frequency detail. So what we're going to do is get a noise texture, and we're going to get a color ramp as well. Take the color, plug it into here. We're going to get a bump node, put it into here. Take the normal and plug it into the normal here. We're going to set the strength of the bump node to 0.5. And we're also going to get a texture coordinate node. Actually, I don't think we need one, so leave that. All we need is a noise, a color ramp, a bump, and over here we're going to add another little tab in here. So hit the little plus. So if we give this a render now, we're going to see there should be some bump. Okay, that's not enough, so let's go to the scale here. We're going to make this 120. And I'm going to go Control B just to create a smaller border render in my camera view, so we can see what's happening here. And there we go now. So before we just had this, which is, it looks okay, but it just doesn't look realistic. In real life, there's a lot more variation in the frequency. So let's just plug this back into the bump. And you can see we have our finer frequency displacement here on the water. So this is a really good way of making water, is combining the physical displacement and the non-physical displacement in our material to kind of combine them to create quite nice looking water. So this looks actually quite realistic, and I'm going to go Control B and just select everything here, Control B, so we can see everything rendering now in our camera view. And I'm actually quite happy with the way this water has come out. It looks quite nice. I might actually just grab, with this plane still selected, go to my my textures tab here, go to displace again, and just maybe make the scale a little bit smaller. So make it 0.07. Or maybe 0.7, sorry. Make it 0.7. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Okay, I like that a bit more. I think that's going to work well. So with that all done, we can now go to our default. And yeah, we can kind of give this a test render. But first of all, let's just work with our render settings here, make them a little bit better. So under our render tab here, enable GPU if you have a GPU. What else can we do? Go to sampling. We're going to make this just about 90 samples because we have the denoising feature now. So if we go to our tab here, go down, enable denoising, go back to our render tab. Let's go to our light paths. Let's see what we can do here. Let's make the filter glossy 5. And yeah, that should be it for now. So let's give this a quick test render and see what happens. So, oops, sorry. I'm going to hit render. Okay, so here we have our render. I'm liking the way it came out. I think it looks quite good. I might just bring the displacement down a little bit. So let's just grab our plane here. And I'm just going to go to my modifiers here, and I'm going to make it 0.08. So just bring it down a little bit like that. And that's pretty nice now. So I think I'm going to stick with that for now. And you're okay, so Blender crashed on me, so I had to kind of remake the scene and everything. But I'm just going to quickly show you guys what I did with some of the settings, things I changed. So you can see here, this is kind of the final result. And unfortunately, I couldn't get rid of this black bit at the back here, but it's kind of far away, and it doesn't bother me too much. The water looks okay. It looks pretty good, and the sky looks amazing. So I'm kind of happy with the way it looks, and I can definitely still do some more research and get better over the years. But I think for now, this is a interesting tutorial. It shows you guys how to quickly make an ocean, and you can put a ship in there and maybe a little island and all sorts of things. So I'm just going to quickly show you what I did differently. So with the material, if I go to compositing, you can see here I set the scale of the noise to 300. I dragged this bar here from here up to here. I set the strength to 0.3, and that's about it. And what I did as well is I went to my displacement and I set the strength to 0.05. So that's what I did. And that was the render result I got. So if I quickly show you guys that again. Here we go. So I hope you guys liked this tutorial. And if you did, please like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Thank you.